Oprah Winfrey, when I become famous for figuring out the fountain of orgasm for women and for figuring out a Nobel Prize in stevia, first turning water into a gas, and the second, uh, being able to make the fountain of youth by getting all the floating soap out of what you're drinking at the end of the blend. You know, there's this huge layer of soap, and it's what's making people stink because it's in the water and in the food that we eat. And there will be a time if things go right because I'm going to be rich from a liquid that brought Peach the cat back from certain death, 17 years old at the vet, about to be put down. She had 6 cancers, tumors in her throat, one had burst, and she was sneezing blood bubbles at the vet. And my mom was in tears. And I took her home and blended tuna fish in pure H2O and gave her pure H2O to drink. And that cat lapped and shit herself into perfect health for 2 years until the reintroduction of tap water shocked her old system into congestive heart failure. You know, my mom didn't have to put her down. We could have put her back on pure H2O and she would still be here, probably, you know, in perfect health, just lapping away at a sweet water that the rich didn't want us to know about. But I figured it out, Oprah. I figured out the fountain of orgasm for women is just pressing down on the belly, above the pubic bone, below the belly button, and feeling the inside fingers with your outside fingers and doing a violent action in that amorphous area, you know, between her belly button and her clit. And it's like a cartoon Shazam. You know what? Uh, she'll go wild and attack the face of the person who's playing it. I call it the violin. And you could interview me about getting set up for a bullshit attempted rape at Notre Dame when their own priest testimony proved I was innocent, and all the kids that were at this party were lined up to testify for me because the little sister of the girl that I bitch slapped when she attacked me, my girlfriend said I was taking a piss and I just got done, and this girl came into the bathroom, and I said, "Is this what you want to see?" You know, uh, cunt. And she went wild and attacked me, and I bitch slapped her off. And her story, Oprah Winfrey, was that I punched her and she flew 17 feet down the hall instead of just like a quick bitch slap, you know, that didn't even bruise her, you know, saying, "Get your hands off me, cunt. You're not my mom. I don't have to take that shit." And I got kicked out for 2 semesters because she said that I punched her, Oprah, and she flew 17 feet down the hall. You know what? We could do a expose on why they held Dan Quinn back because they knew he was going to discover stevia, you know, and broadcast it to the world. What stevia is and stevia does. Stevia makes your body perfect. So if Oprah Winfrey came out with a food line that was nothing but stevia, you know, no sugar, stevia, replacing everything sugar in our diet, the people that ate it would melt down to perfect in record speed if they drank pure H2O. And, you know, I'm landlocked. The only out to the world right now is sitting on his porch using mass media, you know, or YouTube and Facebook to get the word out. But those two miracles that I discovered, they should lead to Nobel Prizes because women will be sexually satisfied across the globe, you know, for those of them that actually have partners that orderly pleasure them. And it's so simple, Oprah. It was right in front of our eyes the entire time. And it just took someone like me to figure it out. And it took someone like me to blend water and stevia and hit this low hung ceiling in this pad that I was in, Roseville, California. And I knew it immediately that that fulfilled the vision that I had at Notre Dame of becoming the richest man on the planet and ending female slavery, ending slavery in general. You know, first part is just spend money and take over companies that are doing it now, but do it better and do it for a penny less instead. And now we pay 95% of the profit back to those who earned it, Oprah. You know, so simple. You know, I mean, don't the rich have enough? How much do they need at the expense of the well-being of other people, not only in this country, embarrassingly, but around the world? And that's embarrassingly too, because lots of times we set up puppet regimes that don't have the best interests in that region's best interest of the people. You know, we president of Iran and institute the Shah. You know, most people don't even know that, but that's why the Iranians hate us so much and with such a vehemence, because we've overthrown their duly elected officials, you know, in place of somebody who was pro-U.S. And you know, how fair is that? Happens when those that have the money. What happens, Oprah, when we no longer have a need for oil? They've actually done studies, and yes, they think that oil is the energy that fuels the center of the earth. You know, that molten core. It has to be for something. It just can't exist and build up. You know, um, it's not building up and doing terrible things to the environment to get the mode for bursting hydrogen into power. You know, Oprah, when you blend stevia and water, water bursts and it pops, it triples in that were educated, like my uncle. He said, "Oh yeah, that's a gas," and it is, and they can actually make engines to run off that, so that in a second. And you know, I'm not exactly sure how to do it on YouTube live TV. I don't know how many people that are watching. It looks like it says four, you know, but I'm gonna post this up, and hopefully somebody that knows somebody in the Oprah pipeline, you know, gets word to her, you know, about the violin. She can validate that immediately, you know, with one of her friends. And, you know, the thing about stevia replacing the poisonous sweet sugar that they flood the ghettos with cheap sugar to keep, you know, people in the ghetto fat and docile and, you know, fattened up for, you know, not having, you know, health insurance. I mean, this country is so embarrassing. You know, I can't stand it. You know, all the things that we say that we're for, uh, they're voted down, you know, in favor of rich things, you know, that take money, like building aircraft carriers when there shouldn't be any wars. You know, there's just too many of us, and we have to figure a way down. You know, how about we pay women in the United States not to have babies? You know, pay them, you know, a house or something. You know, that would drastically reduce the number of kids that are starting to overpopulate the United States. You know, how long before we become China? You know, are we going to let it go that far? You know, these are the things that should be discussed and aren't. And I'm going to close it out, Oprah. The violin works they should give a sexual Nobel Prize at different levels for making pure H2O that does peachy. And my uncle Bob, 74 pounds and 6 cancerous breast tumors. 4 months later, we're gone. And we extrapolate that over the entire planet. And Dan Quinn is the richest man that this planet has ever seen.